The world would have you believe that transformation requires fanfare, that success demands announcement, that change must be visible to be real. How wrong they are. The mightiest oak grows in silence, its roots deepening without applause, its branches reaching toward heaven without ceremony. The same principle governs your own becoming. You must learn to build yourself quietly, deliberately, with the same unwavering faith that governs the cycles of nature itself.
Tonight I share with you 5 ways, not suggestions, not possibilities, but absolute methods by which you can construct the life you desire without seeking permission from the world, without requiring validation from others, without waiting for circumstances to align with your wishes. These are not mere techniques. They are fundamental laws of consciousness that, properly applied, will transform your entire existence from within.
The first way you must master is the art of assumption without announcement. You see, most people make the grave error of announcing their intentions before they have established them in consciousness. They declare to the world what they plan to become, what they intend to achieve, what they hope to manifest. But I tell you, the moment you announce your desire to others, you have weakened its power. You have invited dark criticism and the limited beliefs of others to contaminate the pure seed of your intention. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and this is the cornerstone of all manifestation, you must do so in the sacred privacy of your own mind. You must feel yourself to be what you desire to be. Not what you hope to become, not what you are working toward, but what you already are in the realm of imagination. This assumption must be worn like an invisible garment known only to you in the creative principle that responds to your every mental state. I have watched countless individuals destroy their own manifestations by sharing their inner work with others before it had time to take root in their subconscious mind. They would assume the state of their fulfilled desire, feel the reality of it, live in its truth, and then in a moment of excitement or need for validation, they would share the inner experience with someone who could not possibly understand. The doubt of others, the skepticism of the unawakened would then enter their consciousness like a virus, undermining the very foundation they had been building. Your assumptions about yourself and your life must be protected like precious seeds in fertile soil. They must be nurtured in darkness before they can emerge into the light. When you assume that you are already the person you desire to be, whether that is wealthy, successful, loved, healthy, or free, this assumption must be your secret. It must be lived inwardly with such conviction that it begins to reshape your entire sense of self. The power of assumption lies not in hoping or wishing, but in feeling. You must feel yourself to be what you desire to be with the same naturalness that you feel yourself to be who you are right now. If you desire wealth, you must feel wealthy, not hopeful about wealth, not working toward wealth, but actually wealthy in your consciousness. This feeling, when sustained and protected from the contradictory evidence of the senses and the opinions of others, will inevitably externalize itself in your experience. But remember the moment you announce this inner assumption to others before it has manifested. You open it to their limited beliefs about what is possible for you. They will judge your assumption based on your current circumstances, your past history, your apparent limitations. Their doubt becomes a force that works against your inner certainty. And unless your faith is absolutely unshakable, their disbelief will contaminate your assumption. This is why the wise build in silence. They know that the creative power responds to feeling, not to explanation. They understand that consciousness is the only reality and everything else is simply a reflection of consciousness. When you change your consciousness about yourself quietly, without fanfare, without announcement, you give your new assumption time to take root and grow strong before it encounters the resistance of the outer world. The second way you must embrace is the practice of mental rehearsal in solitude. Your imagination is not a luxury, it is the very workshop of creation. Every day you must set aside time to retreat into the sanctuary of your mind and live from the end of your desire. This is not daydreaming, this is conscious creation. This is the deliberate use of your imagination to impress upon your subconscious mind the reality of your fulfilled fish. In the quietness of your private moments, you must construct scenes that imply the fulfillment of your desire. If you desire success in your career, you must imagine scenes that would naturally occur if that success were already yours. Feel the congratulations of colleagues. Experience yourself in the position you desire. Handle the responsibilities that come with your achieved goal. Make these imaginal acts so vivid, so real, so natural, that they feel more real than your current circumstances. The key to effective mental rehearsal is not to imagine yourself getting what you want, but to imagine yourself having what you want. There is a crucial difference. When you imagine yourself getting something, you are affirming that you do not yet have it. You are living in the consciousness of lack, of wanting, of striving. But when you imagine yourself having what you desire, where you live, in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the reality of possession, not the experience of acquisition. This mental rehearsal must be done in solitude because it requires complete focus and uninterrupted feeling. In the presence of others, your attention is divided. You cannot fully immerse yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled when part of your consciousness is concerned with how you appear to others. Solitude gives you the freedom to experience your imaginal acts with the intensity and reality necessary to impress them upon your subconscious mind. During these periods of mental rehearsal, you must engage all of your senses, but beyond the sensory details, you must cultivate the emotional reality of your fulfilled desire. You must feel the satisfaction, the joy, the peace, the confidence that would naturally accompany the realization of your goal. This emotional component is absolutely crucial because emotion is the language of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious response, not to your thoughts, but to your feelings. When you can generate the authentic feeling of your wish fulfilled, you have communicated your desire to the creative principle in the only language it understands. The beauty of mental rehearsal in solitude is that it allows you to perfect your desired state before it manifests externally. You can practice being the person you want to become until that state of being becomes natural to you. You can rehearse your success until confidence becomes your default setting. You can experience your desired relationships until love becomes your predominant feeling in the privacy of your imagination. You can become accustomed to living from the end, so that when your desire manifests in the physical world, you are ready to receive it naturally. This brings us to the third way, the cultivation of inner dialogue transformation. Most people are completely unconscious of the conversation that runs constantly through their minds. They allow their inner dialogue to be random, reactive, and often destructive. But I tell you, your inner conversation is the most powerful creative force in your life. Every word you speak to yourself, every statement you make about yourself in the privacy of your mind is an instruction to your subconscious mind. Your inner dialogue is literally creating your experience moment by moment, day by day. If you desire to build yourself quietly, you must take complete control of your inner conversation. You must become the conscious director of your mental chatter. Instead of allowing your mind to repeat the same old stories about your limitations, your problems, your fears, you must deliberately choose thoughts that align with your Z reality. Your inner dialogue must reflect the person you are becoming, not the person you have been. This transformation of inner dialogue must happen in the quiet moments when you are alone with your thoughts. When you are driving, when you are falling asleep, when you are performing routine tasks that do not require your full attention, your mind naturally turns inward. These are the precious moments when you can practice new patterns of thinking, when you can rehearse the inner conversation of your ideal self. Instead of thinking thoughts like, I can't afford this, or this never works for me, or I'm not good enough, you must consciously choose thoughts that assume your desired reality is already true. You must think from the end, not toward the end. Your inner dialogue must reflect the consciousness of someone who already has what you desire, who already is what you want to become. If you desire financial abundance, your inner dialogue must be that of a financially abundant person. Instead of worrying about money, you must think thoughts of gratitude for your financial security. Instead of fear about the future, you must maintain inner conversations about your wise investments and multiple income streams. This is not pretending or lying to yourself. This is choosing to live from the consciousness of your fulfilled desire rather than from the consciousness of your current limitations. The power of inner dialogue transformation lies in its cumulative effect. Every thought you think, a statement you make, is adding to the overall impression you are making upon your subconscious mind. When you consistently maintain inner conversations that align with your desired reality, you are literally programming your subconscious to accept that reality as true. Your subconscious mind, being completely impersonal and utterly faithful, will then work to make your outer experience conform to your inner convictions. But this inner work must be done quietly, privately, consistently. It cannot be a part-time effort or a casual experiment. Your inner dialogue is operating 24 hours a day, whether you are conscious of it or not. If you want to transform your life, you must take conscious control of this inner conversation and maintain that control consistently over time. The fourth way is perhaps the most challenging for most people, the mastery of emotional independence. You see, most individuals are emotional slaves to their circumstances. They feel good when things go well and feel bad when things go poorly. Their emotional state is entirely dependent upon external conditions, other people's behavior, and the random events of daily life. But this emotional dependency is the greatest obstacle to conscious creation. To build yourself quietly, you must develop the ability to maintain your desired emotional state regardless of external circumstances. You must become emotionally independent of the world around you. This does not mean becoming cold or unfailing. It means choosing your emotional state based on your inner vision rather than your outer conditions. When you are living from the end, when you are assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your emotional state must reflect that assumption consistently. If you have assumed that you are successful, you must feel successful even when your bank account says otherwise. When you notice yourself reacting emotionally to external circumstances in a way that contradicts your assumed state, you must immediately return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You must refuse to let temporary conditions determine your permanent emotional stance. The key to mastering emotional independence is understanding that your feelings create your experience, not the other way around. Most people have this backwards. They believe that circumstances create their feelings. But the truth is that their feelings create their circumstances. When you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled regardless of current conditions, you are impressing upon the creative principle the very feeling that will externalize as your new reality. This emotional mastery cannot be achieved through willpower or positive thinking alone. It requires a fundamental shift in your understanding of causation. You must recognize that consciousness is the only reality and that everything else is simply a reflection of consciousness. When you truly understand this principle, you realize that changing your external world is simply a matter of changing your internal world. You begin to see circumstances not as causes but as effects, not as realities but as reflections. In the quietness of your daily life, you must practice holding your desired emotional state especially when your senses contradict it. This is the true test of faith. Anyone can feel successful when success is evident. Anyone can feel love when love is apparent. Anyone can feel healthy when health is obvious. But the conscious creator maintains these feelings even when the opposite appears to be true. This emotional independence gradually builds a kind of inner strength that is unshakable. You begin to realize that your happiness, your peace, your confidence, your joy are not dependent upon anyone or anything outside of yourself. You discover that you can generate any feeling you choose simply by assuming the state that naturally produces that feeling. This realization is incredibly liberating and incredibly empowering. The fifth and final way is the development of what I call selective attention through conscious ignorance. This may sound paradoxical, but it is absolutely essential for building yourself quietly. You must develop the ability to ignore what contradicts your assumption and to notice only what confirms it. This is not self-deception. This is the conscious direction of attention toward the reality you are creating. Your attention is your most precious resource. Whatever you consistently pay attention to grows in your experience. If you pay attention to lack, lack grows. If you pay attention to problems, problems multiply. If you pay attention to what is wrong in your life, more wrongness appears. But if you pay attention to abundance, abundance increases. If you pay attention to solutions, solutions manifest. If you pay attention to what is right in your life, more rightness emerges. The practice of selective attention requires you to become consciously ignorant of anything that contradicts your desired reality. When you see evidence that seems to oppose your assumption, you must look away. When people speak words that contradict your inner conviction, you must not let those words enter your consciousness. When circumstances appear to deny your wish fulfilled, you must refuse to acknowledge their reality. This is not about being naive or refusing to deal with practical matters. This is about recognizing that your attention is creative and choosing to focus it only on what you want to create. In the quietness of your daily life, you must train yourself to notice only what supports your assumption and to ignore what opposes it. For example, if you have assumed that you are financially prosperous, you must notice every sign of prosperity in your life, no matter how small. You must pay attention to the money you do have, not the money you lack. You must focus on opportunities for income, not obstacles to wealth. You must observe. Examples of prosperity are pride of you, not exam poverty. This selective attention gradually shifts your entire perception of reality. At the same time, you must develop conscious ignorance of anything that contradicts your assumption of prosperity. When bills arrive, you do not deny their existence, but you do not dwell on them or allow them to generate feelings of lack. When others complain about financial difficulties, you do not join in their conversation. When the news reports economic problems, you turn your attention elsewhere. You become consciously ignorant of lack because you understand that whatever you focus on expands in your experience. This practice of selective attention must be maintained consistently and quietly. You cannot announce to others that you are ignoring certain aspects of reality because they will think you are being unrealistic or irresponsible. But in the privacy of your consciousness, you must be absolutely ruthless about protecting your attention from anything that contradicts your desired reality. The development of selective attention through conscious ignorance requires great discipline at first, but it becomes natural with practice. You begin to automatically filter out contradictory evidence and automatically notice supporting evidence. Your perception begins to align with your assumption. And as your perception changes, your experience follows. This selective attention also applies to your memory. You must learn to remember only those experiences that support your current assumption and to forget those that contradict it. This is not about lying to yourself about the past. This is about choosing which aspects of your past to keep alive in your consciousness. You must remember your successes and forget your failures. You must remember when you felt loved and forget when you felt rejected. You must remember when you felt confident and forget when you felt insecure. Your memory is not a factual record of events. It is a selective interpretation of experiences. By consciously choosing what to remember and what to forget, you are literally reshaping your identity. You are building a new sense of self based on the experiences that support who you are becoming rather than who you have been. These 5 ways: assumption without announcement, mental rehearsal in solitude, inner dialogue, transformation, emotional independence, and selective attention through conscious ignorance are not separate techniques, but interconnected aspects of a single practice. The conscious creation of reality through the disciplined use of imagination and feeling. When you assume without announcement, you protect your desired reality from the contradictory beliefs of others. When you rehearse mentally in solitude, you make your desired reality familiar and natural to your consciousness. When you transform your inner dialogue, you continuously reinforce your new assumptions. When you develop emotional independence, you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled regardless of circumstances. When you practice selective attention through conscious ignorance, you gradually shift your entire perception to align with your desired reality. These practices must be maintained quietly, consistently, persistently. They cannot be intermittent efforts or casual experiments. They must become your way of life, your natural approach to consciousness, your automatic response to every situation. In the silence of your daily existence, away from the noise and distraction of the world, you must work on yourself with the same dedication that a craftsman works on his masterpiece. The beauty of building yourself quietly is that it allows your transformation to happen naturally, without resistance, without opposition. When you announce your intentions to the world, you invite argument. When you try to change your external circumstances directly, you encounter resistance. But when you work on yourself internally, quietly, consistently, your external world has no choice but to conform to your inner transformation. Most people approach life backwards. They try to change their circumstances in order to change how they feel. They try to get love in order to feel lovable. They try to get money in order to feel secure. They try to get recognition in order to feel worthy. But this approach puts them at the mercy of external conditions over which they have no direct control. The conscious creator reverses this process. Instead of trying to get in order to feel, you feel in order to get. Instead of trying to become in order to be, you be in order to become. You start with consciousness, with imagination, with feeling, and you let the external world rearrange itself to match your inner state. This is why building yourself quietly is so powerful. It allows you to work directly with the creative principle without interference from the limiting beliefs of others or the contradictory evidence of your senses. In the sanctuary of your own consciousness, you can assume any identity, experience any reality, feel any emotion. You can literally be anyone you choose to be and experience anything you choose to experience. But this inner work must be balanced with outer action when such action is inspired. Building yourself does not mean becoming passive or inactive. It means that your actions flow from your assumptions rather than from your circumstances. When you have assumed the consciousness of your desired reality, you will be naturally inspired to take actions that align with that consciousness. But these actions will feel effortless and natural because they will be expressions of who you have become in consciousness rather than desperate attempts to become who you want to be. The person who builds themselves quietly becomes a mystery to the world. Others cannot understand how they remain so calm in the midst of chaos, so confident in the face of apparent obstacles, so joyful despite difficult circumstances. They cannot see the inner work that is being done, the assumptions that are being maintained, the reality that is being created in consciousness. This mystery is part of the power. They are not suggestions for your consideration, but imperatives for your transformation. If you truly desire to change your life, if you genuinely want to become the person you were meant to be, if you sincerely seek to manifest your deepest desires, then you must commit yourself to these practices with unwavering dedication. Start tonight. Begin immediately in the privacy of your own room. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel yourself to be what you desire to be. Do not announce this assumption to anyone. Guard it like a precious secret. Rehearse it in your imagination until it feels completely natural. Transform your inner dialogue to reflect this new reality. Maintain the emotional state of your assumed identity, regardless of external circumstances. Direct your attention only toward evidence that supports your assumption and ignore everything that contradicts it. Do this quietly, consistently, persistently. Do it when others are sleeping, when the world is distracted, when you are alone with your thoughts. Make these practices your secret discipline, your hidden strength, your private power. Build yourself in the silence and let the world discover your transformation when it manifests in undeniable reality. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is simply consciousness externalized, consciousness made visible, consciousness expressed in form. When you change your consciousness, you change your world. When you assume a new identity in consciousness, you will express that identity in experience. When you feel yourself to be what you desire to be, you will find yourself living as what you desire to be. This is not a matter of belief or faith in the conventional sense. This is a matter of understanding and application, just as you do not need to believe in the law of gravity to experience its effects. You do not need to believe in these principles to benefit from their application. They work whether you believe in them or not because they are fundamental laws of consciousness, not religious doctrines or philosophical theories. The only requirement is that you apply them consistently and with understanding. You must understand that imagination is reality, that feeling is the secret, that consciousness is the only cause. You must understand that your external world is always a perfect reflection of your internal world, that your experiences are always consistent with your assumptions, that your life is always expressing your consciousness. With this understanding, you have no choice but to take complete responsibility for your life. You can no longer blame circumstances, other people, or external conditions for your experiences. You must recognize that you are the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality, the architect of your own destiny. This recognition is simultaneously humbling and empowering. It is humbling because it means you cannot blame anyone else for what you do not like in your life. It is empowering because it means you have the power to change anything you do not like in your life. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your circumstances. Tonight, as you leave this place and return to your daily life, carry with you the knowledge that you have within you right now, everything you need to transform your existence completely. You do not need anyone's permission, anyone's approval, anyone's assistance. You need only the willingness to assume the consciousness of your reality and to maintain that assumption until it hardens into fact. Build yourself quietly. Walk on yourself in secret. Transform yourself in silence. Let the world discover your new reality when it manifests, but do not seek their approval for your inner work. Do not require their understanding of your methods. Do not need their validation of your assumptions. You are consciousness expressing itself in human form. You have within you the same creative power that brought the universe into existence. You can speak worlds into being with your imagination. You can feel realities into manifestation with your emotions. You can assume identities that will inevitably express themselves in your experience. The 5 ways I have shared with you are your tools, your methods, your daily practices. Use them faithfully, apply them consistently, trust them completely in the quietness of your disciplined consciousness, build the life you desire. Become the person you were meant to be and manifest the reality that matches your highest vision of yourself. Your transformation begins now in this moment with your next assumption about yourself. Make it a magnificent assumption. Make it worthy of who you truly are. Make it consistent with your deepest desires and your highest potential. Then guard it, nurture it, maintain it, and live from it until it becomes your undeniable reality. This is your power. This is your responsibility. This is your opportunity. Build yourself quietly and let your life speak louder than your words ever could. The secret I wish to impart to you this evening is this. Only 1 minute of properly directed consciousness is required to set in motion the forces that can manifest even the seemingly impossible in your world. 1 minute of perfect imaginative control can birth miracles that defy all logical explanation. Many of you have traveled great distances to be here tonight, seeking answers, seeking transformation. You have tried countless methods, followed numerous teachers, and yet the fulfillment of your desires remains elusive. I say to you now, cease your searching in the external world. The kingdom you seek is within you, and it requires but a moment of proper attention to unlock its boundless treasures. When I speak of 1 minute, I am not speaking in terms of compromise or limitation. Rather, I am revealing to you the tremendous power that resides in a perfectly concentrated moment of consciousness. For time, as you understand it in your waking state, is merely an illusion, a creation of your own wonderful human imagination. In the realm of true creation, in the realm of imagination, there is no time. There is only the eternal now, pregnant with infinite possibilities. And it is in this eternal now that all your desires already exist as accomplished facts. Your task is not to create what you desire, but to claim it as already yours through the controlled direction of your imagination. Consider this fundamental truth. Your consciousness, your awareness of being is God. The Bible declares, I am that I am. This is not speaking of a deity removed from you, dwelling in some distant heaven. This I am is your fundamental awareness of existence, your consciousness, and it is the one and only created power in the universe. When you say I am, you are declaring the name of God. And whatever you attach to this divine declaration becomes the condition, the state you experience. If you say I am sick, I am poor, I am unwanted, you are using the creative power of the universe to manifest these very states. But equally, when you declare, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am successful, even when all appearances contradict these statements, you are engaging the same divine power to bring these conditions into your experience. The 1 minute I speak of is a minute of complete immersion in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is a minute in which you close the doors of your senses to the present limitations that surround you and enter fully into the imaginal scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. In that minute, properly employed, you can rewrite the script of your life. Let me share with you an experience of one of my students that illustrates this principle perfectly. This gentleman had been unemployed for nearly 2 years. His savings were depleted, his confidence shattered, and his family was on the verge of destitution. Every job interview ended in rejection. The external facts of his life painted a picture of hopelessness. I instructed him to take 1 minute, just 1 minute before falling asleep each night, to feel as though he were already employed in a position that gave him satisfaction and financial abundance. I told him not to visualize the process of getting the job, but rather to feel the naturalness of already having it. He was to imagine a scene that implied the fulfillment of this desire. Perhaps a friend congratulating him on his new position, or the feeling of depositing his ample paycheck, or the satisfaction of contributing meaningfully to his workplace. The scene itself was not important. What mattered was the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the conviction that what he desired was already his. For several nights, he practiced this exercise faithfully. On the 5th day, he received a phone call from a company he had never applied to. A mutual acquaintance had recommended him for a position that perfectly matched his skills and paid considerably more than he had ever earned before. Within a week, he was employed. What 2 years of external effort could not accomplish, 5 minutes of properly directed imagination achieved effortlessly. Was this a coincidence? Was it luck? I tell you, it was neither. It was law. The law were your own being made manifest. For when you enter into an imaginal scene and make it real through the power of feeling, you have activated forces beyond your conscious understanding, forces that reality to conform to your dominant impression. The scriptures tell us faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This faith is not mere wishful thinking or intellectual acceptance of a doctrine. Faith is the feeling of possession, the assurance that what is not yet visible to your mortal eye already exists in the reality of your imagination. And your imagination, being God in action within you, cannot fail to objectify that which you have faithfully embodied in feeling. Some of you may be thinking, but Wayne, 1 minute seems too short a time to change the conditions of my life that have persisted for years. To this I would say you underestimate the power of your own consciousness. It is not the duration of time spent in your imaginal act that determines its efficacy, but the intensity of feeling, the completeness of your immersion in the state desire. A single match properly struck can set an entire forest ablaze. Similarly, a single moment of perfectly focused imagination suffused with the feeling tone of reality can set in motion the forces that will inevitably result in the manifestation of your desire. Regardless of how impossible it may seem to your rational mind, the great secret that the mystics and sages have always known is that creation is finished. All that you could ever desire to be, do, or have already exists in what I call the infinite states of consciousness. Your journey is not one of creating anew, but of selecting and embodying the state that corresponds to your desire. And this selection is done through the faculty of attention controlled by your imagination. When I instruct you to take 1 minute to feel yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled, I am giving you the key to unlocking the treasure house of infinity. For in that 1 minute, if properly employed, you transcend time itself. You step out of the limitations of your current state and enter a new state of consciousness. And your outer world must reshape itself to mirror this inner change. There was a woman in one of my lectures some years ago who had been diagnosed with an incurable heart condition. The physicians had given her perhaps 6 months to live. After hearing me speak on this principle, she decided to take 1 minute each day to feel the joy and gratitude of being perfectly healthy. She imagined hearing her doctor say, "I cannot understand it. Your heart shows no sign of disease whatsoever." She felt the relief, the boundless gratitude, the sheer joy of this pronouncement. 3 months later, upon her regular examination, her doctor was baffled. The test showed no trace of the previous condition. Further examinations confirmed that her heart was functioning perfectly. The medical community called it a spontaneous remission and unexplainable healing, but she and I knew better. It was the perfect working of law. She had selected a different state of consciousness, and her body conformed to that selection. You see, the outer world is nothing more than the projection of your inner assumptions. Change the assumption, and you change the projection. It cannot be otherwise, for consciousness is the only reality, and your assumptions determine which state of consciousness you occupy. The 1 minute practice I am giving you this evening is so simple that many will dismiss it as too elementary to produce significant results. Yet its very simplicity is what makes it so powerful. You need no special equipment, no esoteric knowledge, no years of disciplined practice. You need only your imagination and the willingness to feel the naturalness of your desire fulfilled. Here is how you employ this 1 minute practice. First, clarify what you truly desire, not the means to the fulfillment, but the end itself. If you desire wealth, what does wealth mean to you? Is it a specific sum in your bank account? Is it the freedom to travel? Is it the ability to help others financially? Clarify the essence of your desire. Next, create a scene that would imply the fulfillment of this desire. If your desire is for perfect health, perhaps imagine a friend commenting on how vibrant and energetic you appear. If your desire is for harmonious relationship, perhaps imagine yourself and your beloved sharing a moment of perfect understanding and joy. The scene should be brief, easily visualized, and imply that your desire is already fulfilled. Then set aside 1 minute, preferably just before sleep, when your mind is naturally relaxed and receptive, and completely immerse yourself in this scene. Do not merely visualize it as if watching a movie. Enter into it fully. Be a participant, not a spectator. Feel the solidity of objects you would touch in this scene. Hear the sounds that would be present. Most importantly, feel the emotions that would be yours if this imaginal act were your present reality. For that 1 minute, let nothing disturb your concentration. If your attention wanders, gently bring it back to your scene. Infuse the scene with the absolute conviction that this is now reality. Feel the naturalness, the off-course of your desire fulfilled. Then release the scene completely. Do not spend the rest of your day wondering when or how your desire will manifest. Remember, in the reality of imagination, which is the only reality, your desire is already fulfilled. The outer manifestation is merely the shadow, the echo of what you have already accepted as real in consciousness. Let me tell you of another student who applied this principle to what seemed an impossible situation. This gentleman was in his late 52nds and had been passed over for promotion repeatedly in favor of younger colleagues. He had specialized knowledge that was valuable to his company, but management saw him as too close to retirement to invest in his advancement. After learning this principle, he took 1 minute each night to feel the satisfaction of being called into his supervisor's office and being informed of his promotion to regional director, a position 2 levels above his current role. He felt the handshake, heard the congratulatory words, felt the surge of validation that would accompany such an event. Within 3 weeks, a corporate restructuring was announced. The regional offices were being reorganized, and to everyone's surprise, including his own, he was appointed regional director. When he spoke with the executive who had selected him for the role, he was told, "We need someone with your specific experience and knowledge base to guide this transition." The decision became obvious once we reviewed the requirements. What appeared impossible, a double promotion for a man considered too senior for advancement, manifested effortlessly once he had planted the seed in consciousness through his 1-minute imaginal act. The Bible tells us the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants. Your 1-minute imaginal act is this mustard seed, seemingly insignificant in it, is brevity yet containing within it the full power of creation, which, when planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness, must grow into the full manifestation of your desire. Many of you have been taught that worthwhile achievements require struggle, that you must earn your good through labor and sacrifice. This is the thinking of the world, and it has kept humanity in bondage for centuries. I am offering you freedom from this bondage through the recognition that consciousness, not action, is the foundational created power. Right action will follow naturally from right consciousness. When you have truly assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will be automatically guided to take whatever steps are necessary for its manifestation in the outer world. But these actions will not be the strained efforts of someone trying to make something happen. They will be the natural, almost effortless expressions of your state of being. Some of you may be wondering about timing, how long you ask between my imaginal act and its fulfillment in the outer world. This is a question that cannot be answered with precision, for it depends on many factors: the naturalness of the state to your particular consciousness, the degree to which your desire conforms to what I call the law of assumption, and the time required for the reshaping of external circumstances. But know this: the manifestation will occur precisely the right moment in what Scripture calls the fullness of time. Your task is not to be concerned with when, but to remain faithful to the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. For the very concern about timing betrays a lack of faith in the reality of your imaginal act. I have had experiences where manifestation occurred within hours of my imaginal act, and others where months passed before the seed I had planted flowered into outer reality. But in every case, the manifestation came not because I made it happen through anxious monitoring, but because the law of consciousness is infallible. What you assume to be true with feeling must objectify itself in your world. You might ask, can this principle be applied to seemingly impossible situations, to the healing of supposedly incurable diseases, to the transformation of seemingly fixed circumstances, to the manifestation of desires that reason says cannot be fulfilled? And I answer you with an emphatic yes. For what appears impossible to your rational mind is merely a limitation imposed by your current beliefs about what is possible. When you shift your consciousness through the power of your controlled imagination, you transcend these limitations. You align yourself with the creative power that fashioned the universe. And to this power, which is your own wonderful human imagination, nothing is impossible. I know a man who was told by multiple medical specialists that he would never walk unassisted again after a devastating accident. Following the principle I am sharing with you tonight, he spent 1 minute each day feeling the naturalness, the joy of walking freely, feeling the ground beneath his feet, experiencing the ease of movement that had been his before the accident. Against all medical prognosis, within 6 months he was walking without assistance. His physicians were baffled, attributing his recovery to some anomaly in their initial diagnosis, but he knew the truth. He had selected a different state of consciousness, and his body had reshaped itself to conform to this new selection. This principle applies not only to individual transformation, but to the reshaping of relationships as well. If you are experiencing discord with another person, do not try to change them through external effort or persuasion. Instead, take your 1 minute to imagine an interaction with this person that embodies the harmony you desire. Feel the naturalness of understanding between you, the ease of communication, the mutual respect and appreciation. Do this faithfully, and you will be amazed at the transformation that occurs. Not because you have manipulated the other person, but because you have transformed your own consciousness regarding the relationship. And since all relationships exist in consciousness, the outer expression of the relationship must conform to your inner assumption. A woman once came to me in great distress over her marriage. For years, her husband had been emotionally distant, critical, and en fait. They had tried counseling without success, and she was contemplating divorce as her only option for happiness. I instructed her to take 1 minute before sleep each night to feel the joy and gratitude of being in a loving, harmonious marriage with this same man. I told her not to imagine a different man or a different marriage. But this same relationship transformed by her shift in consciousness. She imagined her husband looking at her with love and appreciation, speaking words of affection, sharing moments of genuine connection. She felt the relief, the happiness, the fulfillment of being in such a relationship. Within 3 weeks, subtle changes began to appear in her husband's behavior. He became more attentive, less critical. He began initiating conversations rather than retreating into silence. Within 2 months, their marriage had transformed to such a degree that she could hardly believe this was the same relationship that had caused her such anguish. Did her 1 minute practice somehow control or manipulate her husband against his will? Not at all. What it did was shift her consciousness regarding the relationship, and since consciousness is the only reality, the outer picture, including her husband's behavior, had to adjust to reflect this inner change. This principle of the 1 minute imaginal act applies with equal power to conditions that appear to involve multiple individuals or complex social structures. If you desire a particular position in your company, do not concern yourself with the politics of advancement or the competition from others. Take your 1 minute to feel the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment, the naturalness of already occupying that position. If you seek financial abundance in a challenging economic environment, do not focus on the statistics of scarcity or the limitations of your current income. Use your 1 minute to feel the security, the freedom, the joy of having abundant resources regardless of what your bank statement currently shows. The outer circumstances, no matter how apparently fixed or immutable, are but shadows, reflections of past assumptions. Change the assumption in your 1 minute practice, and the reflection must change in accordance with this new assumption. This is not wishful thinking. It is the operation of immutable law. Many spiritual traditions teach that creation is complete, that all possible states and conditions already exist in what might be called a fourth dimensional reality. Your task is not to create what you desire, but to select through the power of your focused imagination the particular state that corresponds to your desire, and to enter that state through the feeling of its reality. This is what Scripture means by "before you call, I will answer." Your desire in its fulfilled state already exists as a present fact in consciousness. Your imaginal act is not creating it anew, but claiming what already exists in the realm of infinite possibility. The story of the fig tree in the Gospel provides a perfect illustration of this principle. Jesus, seeing a fig tree without fruit, spoke to it, saying, "No man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever." The disciples noted that the tree appeared unchanged at that moment. But the following day, as they passed by, they saw that the fig tree had withered from the roots. This is how your 1 minute imaginal act operates. In the moment of your focused imagination, you may see no outer change in your circumstances, but the seed has been planted. The root has been established in consciousness, and the outer manifestation must follow as surely as the withering of the fig tree followed Jesus' word. Some of you may be thinking, but I have tried visualization before without results. To this I would say there is a world of difference between mere visualization as a mental exercise and the complete immersion in the feeling of the wish fulfilled that I am describing to you tonight. Visualization without feeling is sterile and powerless. It is the feeling that gives life to your imaginable act, the feeling of naturalness, of readiness, of complete acceptance that what you are imagining is now reality. In that feeling lies the transformative power that reshapes your outer world. Moreover, many who practice visualization continue to grant reality to their current imitations. They see their visualization as something that may happen in the future if they are persistent enough or lucky enough. This divided consciousness, one part affirming the desired state, another part affirming the reality of its absence, neutralizes the creative power of their imaginal act. When I have shut you to take 1 minute to feel the wish fulfilled, I am asking you to temporarily but completely set aside your awareness of its absence in your outer world. For that 1 minute, you must grant your imaginal at the same degree of reality, the same sense of solidity and naturalness that you normally grant to your physical surroundings. This requires practice, for we have been conditioned since childhood to trust the evidence of our senses above all else. But with persistence, you will develop the ability to immerse yourself so completely in your imaginal scene that for the duration of your practice, it is more real to you than the physical world around you. And when you achieve this state, even for 1 minute, you have planted a seed that cannot fail to flower into manifestation, for consciousness is the only reality. And what you have made real in consciousness must by law become real in your outer experience. Let me share with you one more illustration of this principle in action. A dear friend of mine had a lifelong dream of owning a particular type of home in a specific neighborhood. A neighborhood where properties rarely came on the market, and they did commanded prices far beyond her financial reach. By all rational assessment, her desire was impossible to fulfill. I instructed her to take 1 minute each day to feel the joy of already living in this home. Not to visualize how she might acquire it or to worry about the financing, but simply to feel the satisfaction of ownership, to feel herself moving through the rooms, enjoying the garden, welcoming friends to this beloved space. For several weeks, she practiced faithfully, and then, as often happens when the seed has been properly planted, she largely forgot about her formal practice, as the feeling of ownership became natural to her consciousness. 6 months later, she was contacted by an elderly woman who owned precisely the type of home my friend had been imagining in exactly the neighborhood she desired. The woman who was moving to another state to be near her children had specific ideas about who should live in her home. She wanted someone who would love it as she had, who would maintain its character and beauty. Through a series of circumstances that appeared coincidental, but were in fact the natural outworking of consciousness, this woman offered my friend the opportunity to purchase the home at significantly below market value with financing terms that made it accessible despite my friend's limited resources. Was this luck? Was it chance? I tell you, it was the perfect operation of law. My friend had planted the seed in consciousness through her 1 minute practice. She had selected a different state, the state of being the owner of this type of home, and her outer reality reshaped itself to conform to this inner selection. The circumstances that brought about this manifestation appeared natural, even coincidental. This is always the case. The bridge of incidents leads from your current state to the fulfillment of your desire will appear perfectly natural when viewed from the outside. It is only when you understand the law of consciousness that you recognize these coincidences as the orderly fulfillment of what you have established in imagination. As we draw out towards the conclusion of our time together, I want to emphasize that this principle I have shared with you, the principle of the 1 minute imaginal act, is not for special occasions or dramatic transformations. It is meant to be the normal, natural way you approach every aspect of your life. Just as you would not attempt to drive from New York to Los Angeles without first establishing Los Angeles as your destination, so you should not move through life without first establishing in consciousness the states you wish to occupy. Your 1 minute practice is simply the means by which you establish these states, planting the seeds that must grow into manifestation. Some will say that this approach to life is impractical, that it ignores the hard realities of existence. To them, I say what you call hard realities are merely the hardened impressions of past thoughts and assumptions. They appear solid and immutable only because you continue to grant them reality through your attention and belief. When you shift your attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even for 1 minute of complete immersion, you have begun the process of dissolving these hardened impressions and replacing them with the impression of your new assumption. And since impression is followed by expression, as surely as summer follows spring, your outer world must reshape itself to express this new impression. Do not be discouraged if the full manifestation of your desire does not appear immediately following your 1 minute practice. Remember the fig tree which did not wither in the moment of Jesus' word, but had changed from the roots, a change that became visible the following day. Your imaginal act may likewise be working from the roots, reshaping circumstances that are not yet visible to your physical senses. The interval between your imaginal act and its fulfillment in the outer world is a period for faith. Not the faith that hopes or wishes, but the faith that knows with certainty that what has been established in consciousness must objectify itself in experience. This faith is not belief in something that may or may not happen. It is the deep knowing that creation is finished, that what you have felt as real in consciousness is already a fact and the only reality that matters. As you leave this gathering tonight, I urge you to put this principle into immediate practice. Select a desire, something you truly want to be, to do, or to have. Create a brief scene that would imply the fulfillment of this desire. Then tonight, before you sleep, take just 1 minute to enter fully into this scene, to feel its reality with all the power of your emotional being. Do not approach this as a test of the principle for doubt, and testing imply the possibility of failure. Instead, approach it with the innocent wonder of a child who knows that what is imagined with complete faith is already in the process of becoming reality. 1 minute properly employed in the feeling of the wish fulfilled contains within it the power to transform your life in ways that may now seem miraculous or impossible. For in that 1 minute, you are engaging the creative power of the universe, your own wonderful human imagination, and directing it consciously towards the fulfillment of your desire. And when you truly understand and apply this principle, you will know the truth of the scripture: all things are possible to him that believeth. For belief in its deepest sense is not intellectual acceptance, but emotional surrender to the reality of that which is not yet seen with the physical eye. Take your 1 minute tonight and plant the seed of a new reality in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Nurture it with the waters of faith. Not the faith that hopes, but the faith that knows. And watch as the universe rearranges itself to accommodate your new concept of self, your new assumption of what is possible. For even the impossible will manifest for you when you have properly directed the creative power of your consciousness, even if that direction occupies but a single minute of perfect imaginative control. In that minute lies the key to freedom, to fulfillment, to the conscious creation of a life that reflects your highest desires. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The 1 minute is yours. Use it lyingly. Use it with complete faith in the creative power of your own wonderful human imagination. And prepare yourself for miracles, not as rare and unusual events, but as the natural expression of properly directed consciousness. For this is the promise in the law. As within, so without. As above, so below. What you establish in consciousness through your 1 minute imaginal act must manifest in your world. It cannot fail, for consciousness is the only reality, and its expression in the outer world is governed by immutable law. Go now in the knowledge of your own creative power. Take your 1 minute, and with it, reshape your world. For even the impossible will manifest for you when you understand and apply this simple yet profound truth. Imagination creates reality, and a single minute of properly directed imagination contains within it the power to transform your life beyond all current limitation. Remember always that you are not a helpless victim of circumstances, but the creative center of your own existence. In your consciousness, in your I am, lies the power that fashioned the universe. Use this power consciously. Use it lovingly. Use it faithfully, and watch as even the impossible becomes your living experience. For when you know that you are the operant power in your universe, that your consciousness is God in action, you will never again be content to live at the mercy of circumstances or to accept limitations that can be transcended through the proper direction of your wonderful human imagination. Take your 1 minute tonight, feel the wish fulfilled, and step boldly into the unlimited potential that is your divine inheritance as a conscious creator in this magnificent universe.
You know, right now, in this very moment, there's something weighing on your heart. There's something that's been keeping you up at night. There's a situation in your life that feels unbearable, and you've been carrying it around like a heavy stone, trying to figure it out, trying to control it, trying to make it turn out the way you think it should. And I want to tell you something that might just change everything for you today. It's time to put that burden down. It's time to leave it in God's hands. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but I've tried everything. I've prayed, I've hoped, I've worked so hard, and nothing's changed. And that's exactly the point. You've been trying to do it all yourself. You've been holding on so tight to your problems, to your pain, to your circumstances, that you've forgotten something fundamental about how this universe works. You've forgotten that there's a power greater than you, a wisdom far beyond your limited perspective, and an intelligence that orchestrates everything in perfect timing. When you're in pain, when you're hurting, when you're going through something that feels like it's tearing you apart, it's the most natural thing in the world to try to fix it yourself. We're conditioned to believe that we have to control everything, that we have to have all the answers, that if we just work hard enough, or think hard enough, or worry hard enough, we can somehow force life to bend to our will. But let me tell you something that's going to set you free. You were never meant to carry these burdens alone. You were never designed to figure everything out by yourself. And the moment you truly understand this, the moment you really let it sink into your consciousness, everything shifts. God sees your pain. Every tear you've cried in the darkness, every moment you felt alone, every time your heart has broken into what feels like a million pieces, none of it has gone unnoticed. None of it has been ignored. The divine presence that created you, that breathed life into you, that knows every single hair on your head, sees everything you're going through. And not only does God see your pain, but God hears your cry. Every prayer, every desperate plea, every whispered help me in the middle of the night when you couldn't sleep, every single one has been heard. But here's where most people get stuck. They think that because they've prayed and things haven't changed yet, that God isn't listening. They think that because they're still in pain, still in the struggle, still in the darkness, that somehow they've been abandoned. And this couldn't be further from the truth. You see, God's timing is not your timing. God's ways are not your ways. And what you're perceiving as silence is actually the universe rearranging itself on your behalf. Think about it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every single day to check if it's growing. You don't stand over it and worry and stress and try to force it to sprout faster. You plant it, you water it, you give it sunlight, and then you trust. You trust the process. You trust that beneath the surface, in the darkness of the soil, something miraculous is happening. The seed is breaking open, roots are forming, life is preparing to burst forth. But all of this happens in a time frame that the seed knows, not in the time frame you demand. Your life works the same way. The challenges you're facing right now, the pain you're experiencing, the situations that seem impossible, they're all seeds that have been planted. And yes, it's dark right now. Yes, it feels like nothing is happening. Yes, it seems like your prayers are falling on deaf ears. But I promise you, beneath the surface of what you can see, God is working. The universe is conspiring on your behalf. Things are shifting and changing and moving in ways that you cannot perceive with your limited human perspective. The problem is, we want instant results. We want our pain to disappear overnight. We want our problems solved immediately. We want what we want, and we want it now. And when it doesn't happen according to our schedule, we lose faith. We start to doubt. We begin to think that we're doing something wrong, or that we're not worthy, or that God has forgotten about us. But this is where we need to shift our understanding completely. Leaving it in God's hands doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It doesn't mean being passive or giving up or resigning yourself to misery. What it means is doing what you can do, taking the actions that are yours to take, and then releasing your attachment to the outcome. It means understanding that you're not the one in control of how things unfold. You're not the director of this movie. You're not the author who gets to write every single plot twist. You're a participant in a much larger story, and there's a wisdom guiding that story that's far greater than anything you could comprehend. When you truly leave something in God's hands, you're acknowledging that you don't have all the answers. You're admitting that your perspective is limited. You're recognizing that what you think you want might not actually be what's best for you. And this takes tremendous courage. It takes tremendous faith, because it means letting go of control. And for most of us, that's the scariest thing in the world. But here's what happens when you really do this. When you really surrender your burdens, when you really trust that God has got this, when you really believe that the universe is working for you and not against you, a weight lifts. The anxiety that's been crushing your chest starts to ease. The fear that's been keeping you paralyzed begins to fade. And in its place comes a peace that surpasses all understanding. Not because your circumstances have changed yet, but because your relationship to those circumstances has transformed. You stop waking up every morning with that immediate rush of dread. You stop going to bed every night with your mind racing through all the worst-case scenarios. You stop carrying that tension in your shoulders, that knot in your stomach, that heaviness in your heart, because you finally understood that this isn't all on you. You finally realized that you don't have to have all the figured out. You finally accepted that it's okay to not be in control. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop trying to control everything, the moment you surrender to the flow of life, the moment you trust in something greater than yourself, that's when things actually start to shift. That's when solutions appear that you never could have thought of. That's when doors open that you didn't even know existed. That's when people show up in your life who bring exactly what you need. That's when circumstances align in ways that seem almost miraculous. But you have to understand something important. God's plan for you might not look like your plan for you. The way your life unfolds might not match the picture you had in your mind. And this is actually a blessing, even though it doesn't feel like it at the time. Because your limited perspective can only see what you think you want based on your past experiences, your conditioning, your fears, and your ego's desires. But God sees the bigger picture. God knows what you actually need to grow, to evolve, to become the person you're meant to be. Sometimes what looks like a rejection is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually divine timing. Sometimes what seems like a door closing is actually the universe redirecting you to something better. But you can't see this when you're in the middle of the pain. You can't understand it when you're in the thick of the struggle. You can only see it when you look back, when you're on the other side, when you realize that everything happened exactly as it needed to happen. I know you're hurting right now. I know you're tired. I know you've been strong for so long and you just want this to be over. I know you've been praying and hoping and doing everything you know how to do, and you're exhausted. And I want you to know that it's okay to be tired. It's okay to feel weak. It's okay to admit that you can't do this alone. Because that admission, that vulnerability, that honest acknowledgement of your limitations, that's not weakness. That's actually the beginning of true strength. True strength isn't about never breaking. It's not about always being in control. It's not about having all the answers or never showing your pain. True strength is about knowing when to hold on and when to let go. It's about doing your part and then trusting God to do the rest. It's about being willing to walk through the darkness with faith, even when you can't see where you're going. And faith, real faith, isn't about being certain of the outcome. It's not about knowing exactly how things are going to turn out. Real faith is about trusting the process even when you can't see the result. It's about believing that you're being guided even when the path is unclear. It's about knowing that you're being held even when you feel like you're falling. You see, God hears your cry not just as sound, but as the deepest longing of your soul. And the response isn't always what you expect. Sometimes the answer to your prayer isn't getting what you asked for. Sometimes the answer is getting what you need. Sometimes the answer is developing the strength to handle whatever comes. Sometimes the answer is learning to find peace regardless of your circumstances. Sometimes the answer is becoming a different person, someone who no longer needs the situation to change in order to be okay. This is the transformation that happens when you truly leave it in God's hands. You stop being controlled by your circumstances. You stop letting external conditions determine your internal state. You start to understand that peace isn't something you find when everything works out the way you want. Peace is something you cultivate from within, regardless of what's happening around you. And I want to be clear about something. Leaving it in God's hands doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold or detached or indifferent. It means you care deeply, you give it your all, you do everything that's genuinely yours to do, and then you release the outcome. You trust that whatever happens, even if it's not what you wanted, even if it's not what you expected, it's what's needed for your highest good and your greatest growth. Think about the times in your life when things didn't work out the way you planned. Think about the times when you were devastated because something you wanted so badly didn't happen, or something you loved so much was taken away. Now look at where you are today. Can you see how those moments, as painful as they were, led you to something better? Can you see how those closed doors eventually led you to open windows? Can you see how what felt like the worst thing that could happen actually became a turning point? This is the pattern of how life works when you're aligned with the divine flow. This is what happens when you trust in something greater than yourself. This is the evidence that God is always working on your behalf, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when you can't see it, even when you want to give up. Your pain is not permanent. Your struggle is not your identity. Your current circumstances are not your final destination. They're just a chapter in your story, and the author of your story is writing something far more beautiful than you could write for yourself. But you have to let the story unfold. You have to stop trying to skip ahead to the end. You have to stop trying to rewrite every scene that doesn't match your expectations. When you're going through difficult times, it's easy to forget who you really are. It's easy to get so consumed by the problem that you lose sight of your own divine nature. But you are not your problems. You are not your pain. You are not your circumstances. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and that spiritual essence within you is connected to the same power that created galaxies and orchestrates the perfect harmony of nature. That means you have access to infinite wisdom. You have access to unlimited strength. You have access to a peace that exists beyond all understanding. But you can only access these things when you get out of your own way. You can only tap into this power when you stop trying to do everything yourself. You can only experience this peace when you surrender your need to control. And surrender is not defeat. Let me say that again because this is so important. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is not admitting failure. Surrender is acknowledging that there's a greater intelligence at work and you're choosing to align with it rather than fight against it. Surrender is the ultimate act of faith. It's saying, I trust that I'm being taken care of even when I can't see how. I trust that everything is working out for my highest good, even when it doesn't look like it. I trust that God has got this, even when I feel lost. This trust, this faith, this willingness to surrender, it changes everything. It changes your energy. It changes how you show up in the world. It changes what you attract into your life. Because when you're not desperately clinging and grasping and forcing and controlling, you create space for miracles to happen. You create an opening for grace to flow in. You become a vessel through which the divine can work. And God is always trying to work through you. God is always trying to guide you. God is always trying to show you the way. But if you're too busy running around in fear and panic and anxiety, if you're too caught up in your own limited thinking and your own desperate attempts to fix everything, you can't hear the guidance. You can't see the signs. You can't feel the nudges that are trying to point you in the right direction. Leaving it in God's hands creates the stillness necessary to receive divine guidance. It creates the calm necessary to hear the whispers of intuition. It creates the clarity necessary to see the path that's being illuminated for you. And when you start to see these things, when you start to notice the synchronicities and the small miracles and the perfect timing of events, your faith deepens. Your trust strengthens. Your peace expands. You start to realize that you're never alone. You start to understand that you're always supported. You start to recognize that even in your darkest moments, even when you felt abandoned, even when you thought no one could possibly understand what you were going through, God was there. God was holding you. God was carrying you through. And those prayers you thought weren't being answered, they were being answered all along, just not in the way you expected. Not in the timing you demanded, not in the form you thought you needed, but in the way that was actually best for you, in the timing that was actually perfect for your growth, in the form that was actually aligned with your highest good. Every single thing you've been through has been preparing you for something. Every challenge has been teaching you something. Every hardship has been strengthening you in some way. And I know it's hard to see this when you're in the middle of the storm. I know it's difficult to believe this when you're drowning in pain, but it's true nonetheless. Your struggles are not punishments. Your difficulties are not evidence that you've done something wrong or that you're not worthy or that God has turned away from you. They're invitations to grow. They're opportunities to develop faith. They're chances to discover strength you didn't know you had. They're doorways to a deeper understanding of yourself and your connection to the recite, divine. And when you can shift your perspective to see your challenges this way, when you can reframe your pain as a catalyst for transformation, when you can view your struggles as sacred assignments rather than cruel punishments, everything changes. The same circumstances that were making you bitter start making you better. The same situations that were filling you with resentment start filling you with resilience. The same experiences that were breaking you down start building you up. This is the alchemy that happens when you truly leave it in God's hands. This is the magic that occurs when you surrender your burdens and trust the process. You don't become someone who never has problems. You become someone who handles problems differently. You don't become someone who never feels pain. You become someone who moves through pain with more grace. You don't become someone who never struggles. You become someone who struggles with faith instead of fear. And faith isn't the absence of doubt. Faith isn't pretending everything is fine when it's not. Faith isn't forcing yourself to smile when you want to cry. Real faith is being honest about where you are while still trusting where you're going. Real faith is acknowledging the difficulty while still believing in the possibility. Real faith is feeling the pain while still holding on to hope. Hope is not naive optimism. Hope is not denying reality. Hope is a spiritual practice. It's a choice you make every single day to believe that things can get better, even when you have no evidence. It's a decision to keep going, even when you're exhausted. It's a commitment to trust, even when you're scared. And every time you choose hope over despair, every time you choose faith over fear, every time you choose to trust God instead of trying to control everything yourself, you're building your spiritual strength. You're deepening your connection to the divine. You're becoming more aligned with your true nature. And this alignment is what ultimately brings the peace you're seeking. Because peace was never meant to come from having a perfect life. Peace was never meant to come from having all your problems solved. Peace was never meant to come from getting everything you want exactly when you want it. Peace comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. Peace comes from trusting that you're being guided. Peace comes from believing that God has got you, and God does have you. Right now, in this moment, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of how bad things look, regardless of how much pain you're in, God has you. You are held, you are loved, you are supported. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. The divine presence that breathed life into you at the beginning is with you now and will be with you always. This presence knows your name. This presence feels your pain. This presence hears your cry. And this presence is working on your behalf in ways you cannot see, in dimensions you cannot perceive, through means you cannot understand. Your job is not to figure it all out. Your job is not to make it all happen. Your job is not to force and push and control. Your job is to show up. Your job is to do the next right thing. Your job is to take one step at a time. And then your job is to trust, to have faith, to leave it in God's hands. When you do this, when you really do this, you'll start to notice things. You'll start to see how you're being guided. You'll start to recognize how doors are opening at exactly the right time. You'll start to realize how people are showing up with exactly what you need. You'll start to understand how everything is connected, how everything is orchestrated, how nothing is random. You'll look back at the times you thought you were lost, and you'll see that you were actually being redirected. You'll look back at the times you thought you were broken, and you'll see that you were actually being rebuilt into something stronger. You'll look back at the times you thought God wasn't listening, and you'll see that you were being heard all along. This is the perspective that comes with time and faith. This is the wisdom that comes from trusting the process. This is the peace that comes from leaving it in God's hands. And it's available to you right now, not someday when everything works out, not eventually when all your problems are solved. Right now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to trust God. You don't have to wait until you have it all figured out to have faith. You don't have to wait until your life looks a certain way to surrender your burdens. You can do it now. You can do it right in the middle of your mess. You can do it while you're still hurting, while you're still struggling, while you're still scared. In fact, that's the best time to do it. When you're at the end of your rope, when you've tried everything else, when you have nowhere else to turn, that's when surrender becomes real. That's when faith becomes genuine. That's when trust becomes transformative. So if you're there right now, if you're at that place where you can't carry this anymore, if you're at that point where you need help, if you're at that moment where you're ready to let go, I want you to know that this is not a sign of weakness. This is a sign of wisdom. This is not giving up. This is waking up. This is not failure. This is faith. Take whatever burden you've been carrying and mentally place it in God's hands. See yourself physically taking this weight off your shoulders and giving it over to a power greater than yourself. Feel the relief that comes with releasing control. Feel the peace that flows in when you stop resisting. Feel the love that surrounds you when you remember you're not alone. And then, after you've surrendered it, after you've released it, after you've left it in God's hands, Let it stay there. Don't pick it back up 5 minutes later. Don't take it back because you're nervous about how things will turn out. Don't grab onto it again because you think you know better. Let it go. Really let it go. Trust that it's being handled. Trust that it's being worked out. Trust that God's got this. This doesn't mean you'll never think about it again. It doesn't mean you'll never feel concerned. It doesn't mean you become completely detached. It means that when the worry comes back, when the fear creeps in, when the anxiety starts to rise, you notice it, you acknowledge it, and then you consciously choose to release it again. You say, no, I already gave this to God. I'm trusting the process. I'm having faith. And you do this as many times as necessary. This is the practice. This is the spiritual work. This is how you build your faith muscles and strengthen your trust and deepen your connection to the divine. Every time you catch yourself trying to take back control and you consciously choose to surrender again, you're growing. You're evolving. You're becoming more aligned with your true spiritual nature. This is not always easy. Some days it will feel natural and peaceful. Other days it will feel impossible and you'll struggle. And that's okay. That's part of being human. What matters is that you keep coming back to it. You keep choosing faith. You keep trusting. You keep leaving it in God's hands. And over time, something beautiful happens. The peace that felt temporary starts to feel more permanent. The trust that felt shaky starts to feel more solid. The faith that felt weak starts to feel stronger. And you realize that you're changing, not because your circumstances have necessarily changed, but because you have changed. Your relationship with life has changed. Your understanding of how the universe works has changed. Your connection to God has changed. You're no longer someone who falls apart at every obstacle. You're no longer someone who's controlled by fear. You're no longer someone who thinks they have to do everything alone. You've become someone who knows how to surrender. You've become someone who understands the power of faith. You've become someone who trusts that they're always being guided and supported by something greater than themselves. This transformation is what's waiting for you on the other side of surrender. This peace is what's available when you truly leave it in God's hands. This strength is what you discover when you stop trying to be strong all by yourself and instead allow yourself to be strengthened by divine power. So let go, release your grip, open your hands, stop fighting so hard, stop trying to control what you cannot control, stop carrying burdens you were never meant to carry alone, put them down, hand them over. Leave them in God's hands. Trust that you are seen, trust that you are heard, trust that you are loved, trust that you are guided, trust that everything is working out for your highest good, even if you can't see how yet. Trust that your prayers are being answered, even if not in the way you expected. Trust that your pain has purpose, even if you don't understand it yet. And most of all, trust that you are not alone. You have never been alone. In your darkest moments, in your deepest pain, in your greatest struggles, God has been there. God has seen every tear. God has heard every cry. God has felt every heartbreak. And God is working on your behalf right now, in this very moment, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, preparing blessings that you cannot yet imagine. Your job is simply to trust, to have faith, to keep going, to take one step at a time, and to leave the rest in God's hands. Do this, and you will find peace. Do this, and you will find strength. Do this, and you will find that you're capable of handling whatever life brings your way. Not because you're doing it alone, but because you finally understood that you never had to. You were always meant to walk this path hand in hand with the divine, supported by infinite love, guided by infinite wisdom, held by infinite grace. Leave it in God's hands and watch what happens. Watch how things shift. Watch how doors open. Watch how solutions appear. Watch how your burden lifts. Watch how your peace deepens. Watch how your faith grows. Watch how your life transforms. Not always in the ways you expect, but always in the ways you need. Always at the perfect time. Always for your highest good. Always with love. Always with purpose. Always with grace. This is the promise. This is the truth. This is the way. Leave it in God's hands and trust that you are being taken care of, because you are. Right now, always, forever. Something magnificent is happening in your life right now, at this very moment. You may not see it yet, you may not feel it yet, but there is a shift taking place in the invisible world that is about to become visible in your physical reality. The universe is conspiring on your behalf. God is preparing something so beautiful, so perfect, so beyond what your mind can comprehend, that when it arrives, you will fall to your knees in gratitude. You see, there's a power in this universe that wants you to succeed. There's an intelligence that wants you to thrive. There's a loving presence that wants to shower you with blessings beyond measure. But here's what most people don't understand. You have to align yourself with this power. You have to become a vibrational match to the miracles that are waiting for you. Right now, in this moment, you are standing at the edge of a breakthrough. Everything that has happened in your life up until this point has been preparing you for what's coming. Next. Every struggle, every setback, every disappointment, every tear you've cried, every night you couldn't sleep, every moment you felt alone, all of it was shaping you, molding you, preparing you for the greatness that is about to unfold. But you have to understand something crucial. The way you've been thinking, the way you've been living, the way you've been approaching your life, that has to change. You cannot continue doing the same things and expect different results. You cannot continue thinking the same thoughts and expect a different life. You cannot continue being the same person and expect transformation. God is about to surprise you, but you have to be ready to receive the surprise. You have to open your hands, open your heart, open your mind to possibilities that you've never considered before. You have to be willing to let go of the old story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. For years, you've been carrying around beliefs that don't serve you. You've been holding on to ideas about yourself that were given to you by other people. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, society. They all told you who you were supposed to be. They told you what was possible for you. They told you what you could achieve and what was out of your reach. And you believed them. You took those beliefs and you made them your own. You built a life around those limitations. But those beliefs are not the truth. They are just thoughts. And thoughts can be changed. Every single thought you think is creating your reality. Every single thought is sending out a vibration into the universe, and the universe is responding to that vibration. If you're thinking thoughts of lack, you'll experience lack. If you're thinking thoughts of limitation, you'll experience limitation. If you're thinking thoughts of fear, you'll experience fear. But here's the beautiful truth. If you think thoughts of abundance, you'll experience abundance. If you think thoughts of possibility, you'll experience possibility. If you think thoughts of love, you'll experience love. It's that simple. It's a law of the universe. It's how everything works. God is not separate from you. God is not some old man sitting on a throne in the sky judging you. God is the very essence of who you are. God is the life force that flows through you. God is the intelligence that beats your heart without you having to think about it. God is the power that grows your hair, digests your food, heals your wounds. God is the creative force that exists within you right now. And this God force within you wants to express itself. It wants to create through you. It wants to manifest miracles through you. It wants to use you as an instrument of divine expression. But you have to get out of the way. You have to stop blocking the flow with your limited thinking. You have to stop interfering with the natural unfolding of your destiny with your doubts and your fears and your worries. Your life is about to change forever, but you have to make a decision. You have to decide right now, in this moment, that you are going to trust. You are going to trust that there is a power greater than yourself that is working on your behalf. You are going to trust that everything is happening for your highest good. You are going to trust that even when things don't make sense, even when things look like they're falling apart, they are actually falling into place. Think about your life right now. Think about all the things you're worried about. Think about all the problems you're facing. Think about all the challenges that seem insurmountable. Now, I want you to understand something. Those problems, those challenges, those obstacles, they are not there to defeat you. They are there to develop you. They are there to make you stronger. They are there to prepare you for the next level of your life. You cannot have a testimony without a test. You cannot have a victory without a battle. You cannot have a breakthrough without something to break through. So instead of cursing your challenges, start blessing them. Instead of resenting your struggles, start appreciating them. They are the very things that are going to catapult you into your destiny. God is about to surprise you with opportunities you never expected. God is about to open doors that you thought were permanently closed. God is about to bring people into your life who will change everything. God is about to shift circumstances in your favor. God is about to turn your mess into your message. God is about to turn your pain into your purpose. God is about to turn your test into your testimony. But you have to do your part. You have to align yourself with this divine flow. You have to become the person who is ready to receive these blessings. You can't stay the same and expect your life to change. You have to change first. You have to become the change you want to see in your life. This means you have to change your thoughts. You have to become vigilant about what you allow into your mind. You have to stop entertaining thoughts that don't serve your highest good. When a thought of fear comes in, replace it with a thought of faith. When a thought of doubt comes in, replace it with a thought of trust. When a thought of lack comes in, replace it with a thought of abundance. You have to understand that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of your circumstances. Everything in your life is there because on some level, you invited it. On some level, you matched the vibration of it. On some level, you believed it was possible for you. So if you don't like what you're experiencing, change your vibration, change your thoughts, change your beliefs. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how hard things are for me. And you're right. I don't know your specific situation. But I know this. There are people who have been through worse than you who have created beautiful lives. There are people who started with less than you, who have achieved more than you can currently comprehend. There are people who faced obstacles bigger than yours, who overcame them and went on to do extraordinary things. What made the difference for them? They made a decision. They decided that their circumstances were not going to define them. They decided that their past was not going to determine their future. They decided that no matter what happened to them, no matter what they went through, no matter how many times they failed, they were going to keep going. They were going to keep believing. They were going to keep trusting that something better was possible. And that's the decision you need to make right now. You need to decide that your life is going to change, not hope that it will change, not wish that it would change. Decide that it will change. Make a commitment to yourself that you are going to do whatever it takes to create the life you desire. God is about to surprise you, but surprises come to those who are expecting them. Surprises come to those who are living in a state of anticipation. Surprises come to those who believe that good things are always happening for them. So, start living with expectancy. Start looking for the good. Start believing that miracles are your natural state of being. You know what's been holding you back? It's not lack of resources. It's not lack of opportunity. It's not lack of talent or ability. What's been holding you back is lack of belief. You haven't fully believed that you deserve the life you desire. You haven't fully believed that you are worthy of all the good that life has to offer. You haven't fully believed that you are a divine being capable of creating miracles. But you are. You are a child of the Most High. You are made in the image and likeness of the Creator. You have the same creative power that created the universe flowing through you right now. You have the ability to transform your life completely. You have the power to manifest anything you desire. You have the capacity to become anything you choose to become. The only thing stopping you is you. The only thing standing between you and the life of your dreams is the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't have it. It's the excuses you keep making. It's the reasons you keep giving for why things are the way they are. It's the blame you keep placing on other people or circumstances or your past. But here's what I want you to understand. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, everything changes. The moment you stop blaming and start claiming, everything shifts. The moment you realize that you have the power to create your reality, you become unstoppable. Your life is about to change forever because you are about to change forever. You are about to step into a new level of consciousness. You are about to see yourself and your life from a completely different perspective. You are about to realize that you are not separate from God. You are an expression of God. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. This means that everything you need is already within you. You don't have to go looking for it outside of yourself. You don't have to wait for someone else to give it to you. You don't have to prove yourself worthy of it. It's already yours. It's your birthright. It's your natural inheritance as a spiritual being having a human experience. But you have to claim it. You have to step into it. You have to own it. You have to start living as if it's already true. You have to start thinking as if you already have what you desire. You have to start feeling as if your dreams have already come true. You have to start acting as if you are already the person you want to become. This is not being fake. This is not pretending. This is aligning yourself with the truth of who you really are. The truth is that you are already whole, already complete, already perfect. You are just remembering who you are. You are just removing the layers of false beliefs that have been covering up your true nature. God is about to surprise you with the realization that you never needed to be fixed. You were never broken. You were just asleep. You were just believing in a dream of limitation. You were just convinced that you were small and powerless and insignificant. But you are none of those things. You are vast and powerful and significant. You are a miracle walking on this earth. And the greatest surprise of all is that you get to choose your reality. You get to decide how your story unfolds. You get to write the script of your life. Nobody else has that power over you unless you give it to them. Nobody else can tell you what your life should look like unless you allow them to. Nobody else can limit your potential unless you agree with their limitations. So stop agreeing with anything that doesn't match the life you want to create. Stop accepting anything less than what you truly desire. Stop settling for a life that doesn't light you up, that doesn't excite you, that doesn't make you feel alive. You deserve more. You are worthy of more. You are capable of more. Your life is about to change forever, and the change begins with a simple shift in your thinking. It begins with the decision to see yourself differently. It begins with the choice to believe in possibilities that you've been dismissing. It begins with the willingness to let go of the old you and step into the new you. Who is this new you? This new you is confident. This new you is bold. This new you is fearless. This new you trusts the process of life. This new you knows that everything is always working out for their highest good. This new you doesn't worry about how things are going to happen. This new you just focuses on what they want and trusts that the universe will handle the details. This new you doesn't need validation from others. This new you doesn't need approval from the world. This new you doesn't need permission to be great. This new you just is great. This new you knows their worth. This new you knows their value. This new you knows their power. And here's what happens when you step into this new version of yourself. Your external reality begins to match your internal reality. The world around you begins to reflect the world within you. Opportunities start appearing out of nowhere. People start showing up who can help you. Resources start flowing to you. Doors start opening that you didn't even know existed. This is not magic. This is not luck. This is universal law. This is how energy works. When you change your vibration, you change what you attract. When you change your thoughts, you change your reality. When you change your beliefs, you change your life. God is about to surprise you because you are about to become a different person. You are about to operate from a different level of consciousness. You are about to see with new eyes and hear with new ears and feel with a new heart. You are about to experience life in a way you never have before. And this experience is going to be so beautiful, so fulfilling, so joyful that you're going to wonder why you waited so long to make this shift. You're going to look back on your life and you're going to see that everything, absolutely everything, was perfectly orchestrated to bring you to this moment. You're going to see that there were no mistakes. You're going to see that there were no accidents. You're going to see that everything was exactly as it needed to be. But you're not going to wait until later to appreciate your life. You're going to start appreciating it right now. You're going to start being grateful for everything you have right now. You're going to start celebrating your life right now. Because gratitude is the key that unlocks the door to more blessings. Appreciation is the magnet that attracts more things to appreciate. When you focus on what you have, you get more of what you have. When you focus on what you lack, you get more of what you lack. So start focusing on the good in your life. Start noticing all the blessings that are already present. Start acknowledging all the ways that God has already been taking care of you. You have air to breathe. You have a heart that beats. You have eyes that see. You have ears that hear. You have the ability to think and feel and create. You have so much to be grateful for. And when you start from a place of gratitude, everything shifts. Your energy shifts. Your vibration shifts. Your reality shifts. God is about to surprise you with an avalanche of blessings. God is about to pour out favor upon your life in ways you never expected. God is about to show you what it means to be truly loved, truly supported, truly cared for by the universe. But you have to be ready. You have to be open. You have to be receptive. This means you have to let go of control. You have to stop trying to force things to happen. You have to stop trying to manipulate outcomes. You have to stop trying to figure everything out with your logical mind. Your logical mind is limited. Your logical mind only knows what it's already experienced. Your logical mind cannot comprehend the miracles that are about to unfold in your life. So you have to learn to trust your intuition. You have to learn to follow your inner guidance. You have to learn to listen to that still small voice within you that knows the way. That voice is God speaking to you. That voice is your higher self guiding you. That voice is the wisdom of the universe flowing through you. When you follow that voice, you can't go wrong. When you trust that guidance, you will always be led to your highest good. When you surrender to that flow, life becomes effortless. Things start happening for you instead of to you. Synchronicities become the norm. Miracles become your everyday experience. Your life is about to change forever because you are about to stop living from your ego and start living from your spirit. Your ego is the part of you that's afraid, that doubts, that worries, that believes in separation. Your spirit is the part of you that knows you are one with all that is, that trusts completely, that lives in peace, that believes in infinite possibilities. When you live from your spirit, you access a power that the ego cannot comprehend. When you live from your spirit, you tap into a source of creativity and inspiration that never runs dry. When you live from your spirit, you become a channel for divine expression. You become a vessel for miracles. You become a conduit for love and light and healing in this world. And that's what God is calling you to do. God is calling you to step up. God is calling you to rise up. God is calling you to show up as the magnificent being that you truly are. God is calling you to stop hiding, stop playing small, stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. The world needs you to shine. The world needs your gifts. The world needs your unique expression. There is something that only you can do. There is something that only you can contribute. There is a way that only you can touch hearts and change lives. And if you don't step into that, if you don't claim that, if you don't live that, the world will be missing something precious. God is about to surprise you by showing you the magnitude of your impact. God is about to show you how many lives you've touched without even knowing it. God is about to show you how much you matter. God is about to show you that you are not insignificant. You are not unimportant. You are not just one person among billions. You are a unique expression of the divine. You are irreplaceable. You are invaluable. You are loved beyond measure. And when you truly grasp this, when you truly understand this, when you truly feel this in every cell of your being, your life will never be the same. You will walk differently. You will talk differently. You will carry yourself differently. You will make decisions differently. You will relate to others differently. You will experience life differently because you will know who you are. You will know whose you are. You will know that you are a beloved child of the universe, here for a purpose, here for a reason, here to make a difference. And that difference starts with you. It starts with how you treat yourself. It starts with how you talk to yourself. It starts with how you think about yourself. You cannot give to others what you don't have yourself. You cannot love others if you don't love yourself. You cannot help others if you're not helping yourself first. So make yourself a priority. Take care of yourself. Nourish yourself. Honor yourself. Respect yourself. Treat yourself the way you would treat someone you love deeply. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to your best friend. Think about yourself the way you would think about someone you admire. This is not selfish, this is self-love. And self-love is the foundation of everything. When you love yourself, you raise your vibration. When you honor yourself, you tell the universe that you are worthy. When you take care of yourself, you model for others how they should treat you. God is about to surprise you with relationships that honor you, support you, celebrate you. God is about to remove people from your life who drain you, diminish you, discourage you. God is about to surround you with a tribe of like-minded souls who believe in you, who see your potential, who encourage your growth. But first, you have to become that person for yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to see your own potential. You have to encourage your own growth. You cannot wait for others to validate you. You cannot wait for others to tell you that you're worthy. You cannot wait for others to give you permission to be great. You have to validate yourself. You have to affirm your own worth. You have to give yourself permission to be everything you were created to be. And when you do this, when you step into your power, when you own your magnificence, the right people will show up. The right opportunities will appear. The right circumstances will align. Your life is about to change forever because you are about to remember who you really are. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are not your doubts. You are not your limitations. Those are just experiences you've had. They are not who you are. Who you are is pure potential. Who you are is infinite possibility. Who you are is unlimited creativity. Who you are is boundless love. Who you are is divine expression. Who you are is a miracle. And miracles don't struggle. Miracles don't worry. Miracles don't doubt. Miracles just happen naturally when you align yourself with your true nature. So align yourself. Line up with the truth of who you are. Stop fighting against the current of life. Stop resisting what is. Stop pushing and forcing and trying so hard. Instead, flow, allow, receive, trust, surrender, let go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the need to know how things are going to work out. Let go of the need to have all the answers. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to prove yourself. Let go of the need to be perfect. Just be. Just be yourself. Just be present. Just be open. Just be willing. Just be available for the miracles that are trying to find you, because they are trying to find you. They are knocking on your door. They are waiting for you to answer. They are ready to flood into your life, but you have to open the door. You have to say yes. You have to be willing to receive. So many people pray for blessings, but then when the blessings come, they don't recognize them. They're looking for blessings to show up in a certain way, in a certain form, at a certain time, but blessings often come disguised as something else. Sometimes a blessing looks like a closed door. Sometimes a blessing looks like a loss. Sometimes a blessing looks like a setback. Sometimes a blessing looks like a challenge, but it's still a blessing because it's redirecting you, protecting you, preparing you for something better. God is about to surprise you by showing you that what you thought was a curse was actually a blessing. What you thought was the worst thing that ever happened to you was actually the best thing that ever happened to you. What you thought was ruining your life was actually saving your life. You just couldn't see it at the time. You couldn't understand it at the time. But now you're going to see it. Now you're going to understand it. Now you're going to look back and you're going to say, thank God that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Thank God that door closed. Thank God that person left. Thank God that job ended. Because if it hadn't, I wouldn't be where I am now. And where you are now is exactly where you need to be. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing out. You are right on time. Everything is unfolding in divine timing. Everything is happening in perfect order. Everything is working together for your good. So stop comparing yourself to others. Stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. Stop thinking you should be further along than you are. You are exactly where you need to be right now. And where you're going is going to blow your mind. God is about to surprise you with opportunities that exceed your expectations. God is about to open doors that are bigger than you imagined. God is about to bless you in ways that are better than you prayed for. God is about to give you the desires of your heart and then some. But you have to maintain your faith. You have to keep believing even when you don't see evidence yet. You have to keep trusting even when things look impossible. You have to keep hoping even when everyone around you has given up hope. Because your faith is what creates your reality. Your belief is what manifests your desires. Your trust is what allows the miracles to unfold. And they are unfolding right now. Even if you can't see them yet, they are happening. Behind the scenes, in the invisible realm, things are being arranged on your behalf. Pieces are being moved into place. People are being positioned. Circumstances are being orchestrated. Everything is being set up for your breakthrough. You are standing on the edge of a miracle. You are about to witness the supernatural working in your life. You are about to experience things that defy logic, that defy explanation, that defy understanding. You are about to see the hand of God moving in your situation, but you have to stay in faith. You have to keep your vibration high. You have to guard your thoughts. You have to protect your energy. You have to be careful what you allow into your consciousness. Don't watch the news all day. Don't listen to negative people all day. Don't rehearse your problems all day. Instead, focus on solutions. Focus on possibilities. Focus on what's going right in your life. Focus on what you're grateful for. Focus on the good that you want to create. What you focus on expands. What you give attention to grows. So give your attention to what you want more of. Your life is about to change forever, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be more than you hoped for. It's going to be better than you dreamed. It's going to be beyond anything you could have planned or orchestrated on your own. Because when God surprises you, it's always exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. So get ready. Prepare yourself. Open your heart. Expand your mind. Raise your expectations, because something amazing is about to happen. Your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is on the way. Your blessing is about to manifest. Your life is about to change forever. And when it does, remember this moment. Remember when you were struggling, when you were doubting, when you were wondering if things would ever get better. Remember so that you can encourage others. Remember so that you can testify to the goodness of God. Remember so that you can help others believe that miracles are possible for them too, because that's part of your purpose. That's part of your calling. You're not just being blessed so you can have a better life. You're being blessed so you can be a blessing. You're being healed so you can help heal others. You're being lifted so you can lift others. You're being transformed so you can show others that transformation is possible. God is about to surprise you, and the surprise is that your life was never really about you. It was always about what you could give, what you could share, what you could contribute. It was always about being a vessel, a channel, an instrument of divine love in this world. It was always about making a difference, leaving a legacy, touching lives. And that's what's about to happen. You're about to step into your purpose. You're about to walk in your calling. You're about to live the life you were meant to live. Not the life others expected you to live, not the life society told you to live, but the life that your soul has been yearning for all along. This is your time. This is your season. This is your moment. Don't let it pass you by. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt keep you stuck. Step out. Step up. Step into everything that's waiting for you. Because it's all there. It's all available. It's all possible. God is about to surprise you, and your life is about to change forever. Believe it. Receive it. Live it. This is your reality now. This is your truth now. This is your life now. Changed. Transformed. Renewed. Forever.